and welcome to another episode of the In Between Podcast. Let's go ahead and get things started. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the In Between Podcast with your host, as always, McLemore. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure you punch the old subscribe button. Make sure you give it the old pokey poke on that like button. It definitely helps the podcast stay alive, and we appreciate all the contributions from you, our diehard fans. How are you guys going? It's finally the holiday season, or the biggest holiday season. That's right, it's Christmas time. Fa la 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 la. How are you guys doing? You guys getting any Christmas shopping done? Because every year I say I'm going to have it done by like November, and every year Christmas Eve, and I'm just like, I gotta get presents for everybody. Do the old blame it on the post office, like, yeah, I swear I sent it, but the old post office might take a while. Meanwhile, I actually haven't bought anything and haven't have any idea what I'm gonna get yet. But yeah, it's that holiday season, lots of holiday cheer in the air as everyone fights for the last doll on the shelf. I really got to start going through all the peeps because it's going to blast by. It's already right at the beginning, but it's going to shred through. November blasted by like nothing, so I'm sure December is going to breeze on by. And speaking of Christmas, it's time when you start hearing that Christmas music. And like I fucking love Christmas, and I love Christmas music. And I like to play this little game with myself where I, like, December 1st, boom, I download the classic Christmas playlist or whatever, or like whatever Christmassy music I download. And boom, on the 1st, I am blasting that fucking Christmas music. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. And I like to play this game where I see how long it takes until I'm completely over the Christmas music. Usually it takes like a few days. It depends on how hard I go at listening to it, but then I start to think about all the poor retail, like any kind of retail, or like, I mean, they even do it at like grocery stores, anywhere where they're playing music, because you know it's going to be nothing but Christmas 24/7. And if I get sick of it after like just a couple of days in my car, I can only imagine like 10 hours a day, just like, bring like all day long. That's all you hear. Favorite Christmas song. There's a lot of really good Christmas songs, but I want to say my all-time favorite will always be Carol of the Bells, just because it is so hauntingly like deceiving. Like I think if you just look at the lyrics, it's like extremely like just typical Christmas. It's just like, oh, silver bells coming down, sweet silver bells. But then like the actual song is like, hot are the bells, sweet silver bells, sing bring it's extremely haunting, but awesome. I fucking love it. I've loved it ever since, like, I want to say like my earliest memory is like the first Home Alone. They play that song when he's like running home from church, and it's just like boom 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 ba da 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 da. Awesome. And then you throw in that metal version of the awesome. That's definitely top for sure. And then speaking of the holiday season, I saw that Spirited, that movie with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. It's an Apple film. I actually saw it doing the movie mystery thing that they do over here. It's like a Monday mystery movie. And apparently, mystery movie means Apple film, because I think I've done 2 for 2, and both times it's been like an Apple movie that's just like, I was kind of hoping it would be like the new Avatar or something cool, but it's like, all right, I'll watch Spirited, because it's one of those movies where on paper, this movie checks out. On paper, it's like, dude, this movie is going to be insane. All right, everybody? Who do we got starring? All right, well, we need 2 megastars. Who's like the funniest, biggest, first name that comes to your head? Will Ferrell. Boom, Will Ferrell, yeah. All right, who's his co-host? We need somebody insanely big movie star. I'm talking Charmsville. Boom, Ryan Reynolds. Oh, yeah. And then we'll throw in, fuck it, Tracy Morgan. Oh, yeah. And we'll throw in, like, all this amazing choreography and, like, all this stuff. And it's just like, all right, I think on paper we got a hell of a hit here. But then in practice, that movie is terrible. That movie is so crazy bad. And it's also fascinating to watch because it's like, all right, well, I looked it up, $75 million on this movie, and that's not even the best part. 75 for the whole film, and 40 of that 75 is just going to Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. $20 million each. $20 million for one stupid movie. And then I feel like that kind of adds to, like, maybe why I wasn't digging it as much as I should have, because it's like the whole thing, it's like a remake of the Christmas Carol, so it's like, you're visited by 3 ghosts, and here's your past and why you act like a dick, and here's your future if you keep acting like a dick. But it's weird because, like, the whole movie is like Christmas spirit and, like, the spirit of being better and, like, giving, and it's like, but then in the back of my mind the whole time it's just like 20 million per person. 20 million, 20 million, 40 million of this movie went to just those 2 dudes who, don't get me wrong, I mean, like, Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell are both amazing, like, one of my most favorite actors, and, like, they definitely deserve it, but, like, holy shit, dude. And then it's also interesting because it's like, that movie's expensive. Even with the remaining 35 mil, they fucking made the most of it because, like, each set is insane. They've got these giant sets with, like, not like 10, 20, 30. I'm talking like 50, 60, 70 different people dancing and flipping and fucking cartwheeling and blowing fire, and, like, this whole Cirque du Soleil production. And, like, while they're all singing, it's just like, god damn, like, all this choreography, and it's like, this looks so fucking expensive, and this is just awful. Like, the whole musical number is just like, this song is terrible while you're watching these people put so much effort into it. It's just like, this is just not good. It's fascinating to watch something so expensive be so terribly unentertaining. And then, a little cherry on top, I'm going to throw a little disclaimer out on this one because, hey, who loves Will Ferrell more than me? Nobody. Will Ferrell is my dude. I've been ride or die with Will Ferrell since he was on SNL. I've been ride or die with Will Ferrell since old school. Have you guys listened to the Anchorman commentary? Anchorman was so ahead of the game, dude. They had like 7 different commentary tracks for the whole movie, and each one was like a different amazing adventure in comedy, dude. It was like podcasting before podcasting. Will Ferrell and the whole crew would do this whole thing commentary, like not even commentate on anything at all to do with the movie. They would just have this whole radio show, dude. It was insane. And then Ryan Reynolds, too. Ryan Reynolds is awesome. I mean, Deadpool, been ride or die with him since, like, when did he first show up? Van Wilder, dude? Dude, I've been with him since Van Wilder. I like both those guys a lot. But you know what I don't like doing is listening to either one of them sing for, like, 10 solid minutes, dude. It's like, and they're not even given the kind of song where it's like, take The Rock, for example. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, not what comes to mind when you think of, like, a great singer, but even he gets away with it when you throw him in that Disney movie with the "What can I say except you're welcome," because he's doing that kind of, like, talking and then singing, and then there's, like, surrounded by other better singers, so it kind of hides his singing. But they don't do that here. With Will Ferrell, it's just like, hey, Will Ferrell, good luck, because you're standing in that spotlight solo the next 15 minutes trying to hold all these, like, complicated notes. And it's like, hey, man, I love Will Ferrell so much. I love Ryan Reynolds. I can't listen to either one of them sing for that long, dude. It is brutal. It is so bad that, like, by the last, like, 45 minutes of the movie, every time they start to sing, I'm just like, no. Like, it's bad, dude. It's not good. And then that combined with the whole, like, it's the spirit of Christmas. Meanwhile, I got 20 million to make this movie. Thanks, Apple. Yeah, just overall, not the best. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of the In Between Podcast. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the old like and subscribe. Go ahead and punch that like and subscribe button. It keeps the show alive, and we appreciate it. I am your host, as always, Kyle McLemore, and we'll see you next time on the pod.